learn about how users are provisioned. Other situation that calls for provisioning new user accounts or changing privileges include a new employee. When a new employee is hired, the hired manager send a request to the security administrator to create a new user ID. This request authorizes created of the new ID and provides instruction on appropriate access level. Additional author- authorization may be required by comparing policy for relevant permissions. Change of position. When an employee has been promoted, their permission has access right may change as defined by the new role, which will dictate any added privileges and updates to access. At the same time, any access that is no longer needed in the new job will be removed. Separation of employment. When employees leave the company, depending on company policy and procedure, their accounts must be disabled after the termination date and time. It is recommended that account be disabled for a period before they are deleted. A previous the integrity of any edit trails or files that may be owned by the user. Since the account will no longer be used, it should be removed from any security rules or additional access file. This protects the company. So the separate employee is unable to access company data from separation, and it also protects them because their account cannot be used by other to access data. Note: update hiring or changing rules. A best practice is to not copy user profiles to new user because it promotes permission or privilege creeps. For example, if an employee is given additional access to complete a task and that access is not removed when the task is completed, and then the user profile is copied to create a new ID, the new ID created with the more permissions than are needed to complete their functions. It recommended that standard rules are established and new users are created based on those standards rather than an actual users. So here they have provided one video. Let's see what is there in this video.
Whether a user is authorized or unauthorized depends on their user provisioning, which is an identity management process for creating and managing access to resources and information systems.
While we usually think of user provisioning as creating new accounts, there are several different situations which require action by a security administrator who is responsible for provisioning user accounts.
In fact, Susan finds herself in a situation that requires changes to a user's provisioning. Let's check in with her as she notifies the security administrator of this change. Susan is talking to her security administrator.
Hi, one of my employees is going to be taking a temporary leave of absence. Demetra, she's going to be taking a sabbatical from work and she's not going to need access to the systems.
Since Demetra will not be accessing the systems, the security admin recommends disabling her accounts while she's not at work, because this reduces the risk that her account could be used by an unauthorized person while she's on leave. He tells Susan to make the request, then, according to the company policy and procedures, he will disable Demetra's login account, so she's not allowed to log into the company systems while out on leave.
So will this make things complicated when Demetra does return to work? Oh, I see. So even though the account is disabled but not otherwise modified, it will be easy to reactivate it once she returns. Okay, that's great news because I'm going to need her up and running as soon as she gets back.